The courtroom in downtown Boston was packed with relatives I hadn't seen in years, all eyes fixed on the executor as he read my grandmother's will. To my granddaughter Juniandra Reed, I leave the entirety of my estate, including the family home in Cambridge and all financial assets, he announced, his voice steady. But then my uncle stood up, red-faced and furious, declaring, "She can't have it. She's a lesbian and that goes against everything our family stands for." The words hit like a slap, echoing through the stunned silence. I sat there, frozen, my partner Jamie's hand squeezing mine under the table, as whispers erupted around us. My grandmother, Eleanor Reed, had been my rock, the one who whispered stories of independence to me as a child. But now her final gift was being torn away because of who I loved. That night, back in our small apartment in Somerville, I paced the living room while Jamie brewed tea. "They can't do this, June," she said, her voice calm but her eyes worried. "We'll fight it legally." But I knew the family lawyers were sharks, and contesting the will would drain us dry. My Uncle Richard, the self-appointed patriarch, had already rallied my aunts and cousins, painting me as the deviant who shamed the Reed name. Eleanor's estate wasn't just money, it was history. The Cambridge house held generations of memories, from my great-grandfather's immigration from Ireland to my mother's childhood photos. Losing it meant losing my roots, all because I came out at 22, after years of hiding. My parents had disowned me then, but Eleanor never wavered. "Love is love, darling," she'd said, hugging me tight. The next morning I met with our lawyer Sarah Klein, in her cluttered office overlooking the Charles River. "They're claiming undue influence or moral turpitude clauses," she explained, shuffling papers. "But Eleanor's will is ironclad. The issue is the family's pressure on the executor." I nodded, but inside rage bubbled. How dare they weaponize her death against me? Jamie worked as a teacher in a public school, her salary barely covering our rent. I was a freelance graphic designer, scraping by on gigs. The inheritance could have changed everything, a stable home, maybe starting a family. But now it felt like a curse. Days blurred into weeks of depositions and arguments. Richard cornered me after one session, his breath reeking of scotch. "Drop this, June. You're not one of us anymore." His words stung, reminding me of family dinners where I bite my tongue, pretending to date boys. Jamie urged restraint, but I felt the fracture deepening. One evening, sorting through Eleanor's boxes we'd salvaged, I found a stack of old letters tied with ribbon. They were from her youth, addressed to a woman named Margaret. My heart raced as I read. "My dearest Meg, the world may not understand, but my love for you is eternal." Eleanor had been in love with the woman? The revelation shattered my image of her as the perfect widow. I showed Jamie, who gasped. "This changes things. Your family idolizes her as a saint." But sharing it felt like betrayal, exposing Eleanor's secret to fight my battle. The moral weight pressed on me. Was I honoring her by revealing the truth, or desecrating her memory? That night I couldn't sleep. Jamie held me as I cried, whispering, "Whatever you decide, I'm here." But the choice loomed. Keep silent and lose everything, or send those letters and risk destroying the family facade. As tensions mounted, Richard escalated. He leaked stories to local gossip circles, calling me unfit. Clients dropped me, whispers followed us in stores. Jamie's school faced complaints from concerned parents about her lifestyle. The pressure was suffocating, forcing us to question if fighting was worth the toll. In a heated family meeting at the house, my Aunt Lydia sneered. "Eleanor would be ashamed." I bit back. "You don't know her at all." But doubt crept in. Had Eleanor hidden her past to protect us, or out of shame? The turning point came when I discovered more letters, revealing Margaret had been Eleanor's college roommate. Their affair lasting years until societal pressure forced Eleanor into marriage. "I chose duty over heart," she wrote. "It mirrored my struggles, but she'd paid dearly. A loveless marriage, quiet regret." Inspired, I decided to act. Not by suing, but by writing letters of my own, to each family member, enclosing copies of Eleanor's words. "See the hypocrisy," I'd say. But Jamie warned, "This could backfire. They'll hate you more." I hesitated, pen in hand. Sending them meant no turning back, potentially severing all ties. Yet, silence meant surrendering to their bigotry. The decision tore at me, weighing love against justice. Finally, I sealed the envelopes, my hands shaking. As I dropped them in the mailbox, a storm brewed overhead, matching the turmoil inside. What had I unleashed? The responses came swiftly. Richard called, furious. How dare you drag her name through the mud? But others were quieter, reflective. My cousin Emily texted, I need to talk. The fallout from the letters rippled through the family like aftershocks. Emily showed up at our door unannounced, her eyes red from crying. June, those letters. Grandma was like me. She confessed her own hidden feelings for women, buried under family expectations. It was a breakthrough but bittersweet. Why had it taken this to connect? Jamie and I listened as Emily poured out years of suppression. I married Tom to fit in, but it's killing me. Her vulnerability mirrored mine, but she'd chosen conformity, paying with quiet misery. I hugged her, feeling a spark of hope amid the chaos. Richard, however, doubled down. He rallied the conservatives, threatening to contest the will harder, claiming the letters were forgeries. Our lawyer Sarah scrambled to authenticate them, digging into archives at Harvard, where Eleanor and Margaret met. Meanwhile, societal backlash hit harder. A local news outlet picked up the story, framing it as a family feud over gay rights. Comments online were vicious. Disgusting, tarnishing a dead woman's legacy. Jamie lost a friend who'd sided with traditional values. The isolation deepened, testing our relationship. One night, after a particularly brutal day, Jamie snapped, June, is this worth it? We're losing everything. Her words cut deep. I dragged her into my war. Guilt gnawed at me. Had my decision been selfish, prioritizing vindication over our peace? But then a call from Aunt Lydia. We need to meet. Alone. At a quiet cafe in Back Bay, she handed me a faded photo of Eleanor and Margaret, arms linked, smiling. I knew, she admitted. Mom confided in me before she died. She regretted hiding it. Tears welled as she continued. I supported Richard out of fear. But seeing her words, it woke me up. Lydia's confession was a crack in the armor. She promised to sway others, but warned Richard was unyielding. He's afraid of what it means for his own secrets. Intrigued, I pressed, but she clammed up. Back home, Jamie and I strategized. If we expose more, it could destroy him, she said. But morality tugged. Revenge or reconciliation? I chose the latter, writing Richard a personal letter, appealing to his humanity. Uncle, Grandma loved unconditionally. Why can't you? His response was a visit, storming into our apartment. You think you're clever? Those letters prove nothing. But his bluster hid pain, eyes darting, voice cracking. Jamie stepped in, calm. It's not about winning. It's about truth. As he left, slamming the door, I sensed a shift. Days later, Emily rallied cousins for a group call. Stories emerged. Hidden affairs, suppressed identities. The family facade crumbled, revealing generations of silence. Yet the legal battle raged. In court, Richard's lawyer argued the letters were irrelevant. Sarah countered with experts, proving authenticity. The judge, a stern woman, listened intently, her rulings fair but tense. Outside, protesters gathered, some for LGBTQ rights, others against family destruction. The spotlight amplified our pain, turning private grief public. Jamie faced scrutiny at work, her principal questioning her distractions. In a moment of doubt, I considered withdrawing. Maybe they're right. I'm tearing us apart. Jamie held me. No, June. You're fighting for us all. Her support reignited my resolve, but the cost was mounting. Then a bombshell. Lydia found Richard's old journals, hinting at his own youthful indiscretions with men. He hid it like Grandma, she whispered over the phone. Confronting him meant betrayal, but ignoring it perpetuated the cycle. I met Richard at the family home, the air thick with history. Uncle, I know about your past. His face paled. How? We talked for hours, tears flowing. He admitted the fear that drove his bigotry, self-hatred projected outward. The breakthrough was raw. Richard agreed to drop the contest, but on condition of family therapy. We need to heal, he said. It felt like victory but shadowed by damage done. As we signed papers, relief washed over me. The house was mine, but relationships fractured. Emily filed for divorce, embracing her truth, while others retreated into denial. Jamie and I moved in, unpacking amid echoes of the past. But scars lingered, trust broken, wounds fresh. Had my letters changed everything for better, or just rearranged the pain? Settling into the Cambridge house brought a mix of joy and haunting memories. The Victorian architecture, with its creaky floors and bay windows, felt like Eleanor's embrace. Jamie and I painted rooms, turning it into our sanctuary, but shadows of the conflict loomed. Emily visited often, her divorce proceedings a mirror to my family's unraveling. "Thanks to you, June, I'm free," she said, but her eyes held exhaustion. Freedom came at a price: lost friends, custody battles. I wondered if I'd pushed her too far. Richard attended therapy reluctantly, sessions tense with accusations. "You exposed us all," he grumbled. But revelations poured out. His hidden bisexuality, forced into heteronormativity by societal pressure. "I envied your courage," he confessed one day, a rare vulnerability. Aunt Lydia mediated, her own awakening profound. "I enabled this for years," she admitted, afraid of rocking the boat. Her honesty inspired others, but not without backlash. Cousins distanced themselves, labeling us troublemakers. Societal ripples extended beyond family. The news story went viral, drawing support from LGBTQ groups but hate from conservatives. Our mailbox filled with letters, encouraging ones from strangers, vicious ones from trolls. Jamie's school implemented diversity training, a small win, but she faced whispers in the staff room. One afternoon, sorting Eleanor's attic, I found Margaret's replies, heartbreaking pleas to run away together. "Society be damned," Margaret wrote. But Eleanor chose family duty, marrying my grandfather out of obligation. The parallel to my life stung. I'd almost done the same, dating men to please parents. Sharing this with Jamie, we cried together. "She paid dearly," Jamie said. "Don't let her sacrifice be in vain." It fueled my decision to host a family gathering, aiming for reconciliation. The event was charged. Relatives arrived wary, conversations halting. Richard spoke first. "I was wrong. Fear made me cruel." Apologies flowed, but not all accepted. My cousin Mark stormed out, calling it brainwashing. The evening ended in fragile peace, but damage lingered. Emily's ex-husband sued for full custody, citing her unstable lifestyle. I testified on her behalf, exposing more family secrets, deepening rifts. Personally, the toll hit hard. Nightmares plagued me. Eleanor's ghost accusing betrayal. Jamie noticed my withdrawal. "June, talk to me." I confessed the guilt. "Did I destroy us for nothing?" She reassured, but strain showed. Our intimacy suffered, arguments flaring over trivialities. The inheritance, once a dream, felt burdensome. Then a twist. An anonymous letter arrived, claiming Margaret was still alive in California. Skeptical, I investigated with Sarah's help. Records confirmed, Margaret Hayes, 92, in a nursing home. Heart-pounding, I flew to San Francisco, Jamie by my side. Meeting Margaret was surreal. Frail but sharp, her eyes lit up at Eleanor's name. "She was my everything," she whispered, sharing stories of stolen moments. Margaret revealed Eleanor had written the will knowing my truth, intending it as amends for her own compromises. "She wanted you free," Margaret said. Tears streamed as I realized Eleanor's legacy wasn't just assets, but liberation. Returning home, I shared with the family. Richard softened further, visiting Margaret himself. Bonds mended slowly but irrevocably changed. Yet new conflicts arose. Emily's custody loss devastated her, blaming my actions for the scrutiny. "You started this fire," she accused. Guilt resurfaced. Had my letters empowered or endangered? Jamie and I recommitted, therapy helping us navigate. But the price was evident. Lost innocence, hardened hearts. As high tide crested, I pondered the ethics. Exposing truths to fight injustice, but at what cost to loved ones? The custody ruling hit Emily like a freight train, granting her ex primary guardianship of their kids. She crashed on our couch for weeks, alternating between rage and despair. June, your letters opened Pandora's box, she sobbed. I held her, but her words echoed my fears. Had I been the catalyst for her downfall? Richard surprisingly stepped up. We'll appeal, he promised, funding lawyers. His transformation was genuine, but motivated by guilt over past homophobia that indirectly fueled the bias in court. I see now how my views hurt us all, he said. Aunt Lydia organized support groups, connecting us with LGBTQ families facing similar battles. Stories of resilience inspired, but highlighted systemic prejudices. Judges swayed by traditional norms, societies clinging to outdated morals. Meanwhile, the house became a hub for healing. Jamie hosted workshops for queer youth, turning pain into purpose. But external pressures mounted. Vandalism. A broken window with slurs spray-painted. Police dismissed it as pranks, amplifying our vulnerability. One night, intruders targeted the house, stealing Eleanor's heirlooms. Panic set in. Was it random or retaliation? Investigations pointed to a distant relative, bitter over the will. The betrayal stung. Family turning criminal out of spite. Confronting him, Richard mediated. Why? We demanded. You ruined us. He spat, echoing old grudges. Arrest followed, but the incident fractured trust further. Personally, Jamie and I hit rock bottom. An argument exploded. Your obsession with justice is tearing us apart, she yelled. I retreated, questioning if love could survive such turmoil. Reconciliation came through couples counseling. Decisions have consequences, the therapist said. Own them but forgive. We recommitted, but scars remained. Intimacy tentative, conversations guarded. Emily's appeal succeeded partially, granting joint custody. Victory tasted hollow, her kids confused by the upheaval. Mommy, why is everyone mad? Her daughter asked. The innocence lost weighed heavily. Margaret's health declined, prompting another visit. Her final words. Don't regret fighting, June. Eleanor would be proud. She passed soon after, leaving a void but closure. Inspired, I wrote a memoir outline, aiming to expose societal flaws. Publishers interested, but family objected. More exposure? Richard pleaded. The dilemma. Silence for peace or speak for change. I chose to publish, anonymizing details. The book deal brought financial security, but backlash ensued. Reviews calling it exploitative. Jamie supported. It's your story. As promotion tours began, old wounds reopened. Interviews probed deep, forcing reliving traumas. Exhaustion set in, but impact showed. Readers messaged, you gave me courage. Yet a family schism widened. Mark disinvited us from holidays, labeling me attention seeker. Isolation crept back. In a pivotal moment, Richard hosted a reunion. Tensions high, but breakthroughs occurred. Apologies, shared stories. Emily announced dating a woman openly, crediting my bravery. But not all mended. Lydia confided her marriage strained, secrets surfacing. Your actions rippled everywhere, she said. Gratitude mixed with resentment. Jamie and I reflected on our journey. From denial to defiance, paying with relationships, security, sanity. Was the change worth the chaos? As climax approached, I faced the ultimate test. A public debate on inheritance laws and LGBTQ rights. Opponents argued moral clauses necessary. I countered with personal pain. The event was electric, arguments fierce. Walking away, I felt empowered but drained. Post-debate, media frenzy intensified. Headlines blared. Lesbian heirs battle exposes family hypocrisy. Support poured in, but so did threats, online harassment, doxing. We installed security, living in fear. Jamie bore the brunt. Her school targeted by protests. Resign or face consequences, notes warned. She stood firm, but stress manifested physically, migraines, insomnia. June, I love you, but this life, she trailed. Guilt consumed me. My decisions endangered her. In therapy, I unpacked. Am I a hero or a hazard? The answer blurred, both perhaps. Emily thrived, her new relationship blossoming. Thanks to you, she said. But her kids struggled, therapy bills mounting. The ripple effects endless. Richard evolved most dramatically. He volunteered at LGBTQ centers, advocating reform. I was blind, he admitted. His marriage strengthened through honesty, a silver lining. But Aunt Lydia's crumbled. Her husband left, citing family drama. She moved in temporarily, her presence a reminder of collateral damage. I don't blame you, June, she lied, eyes betraying hurt. Societal awakening grew. Petitions for anti-discrimination laws gained traction, my story cited. Pride parades feature banners with Eleanor's quotes. Impact tangible but personal cost steep. One evening sorting mail, a letter from Mark. I read your book. We need to talk. Hope flickered. He confessed questioning his prejudices. Reconciliation tentative but real. Jamie and I planned a quiet anniversary, escaping to Cape Cod. Beach walks mended us. We've survived, she whispered. Intimacy returned, fortified by trials. Returning a shock. The house appraised higher, allowing philanthropy. Donating to queer causes in Eleanor's name. Legacy transformed from possession to purpose. Yet doubts persisted. A cousin's suicide attempt, linked to family stress, devastated. Did I contribute? I agonized. Therapy helped. You exposed rot. Healing requires pain. As resolution neared, I organized a memorial for Eleanor and Margaret, burying their letters together. Family attended, united in grief. Richard spoke. Love transcends labels. Healing began but incomplete. Scars defined us, stronger, wiser, but forever altered. In the aftermath, life stabilized unevenly. The house became a haven for displaced queer kin. Jamie's idea turning it into an informal shelter. Stories of survival shared over meals, reinforcing our resilience. Emily remarried her partner in a small ceremony, kids adjusting. You've given them a better world, she said. But her ex's bitterness lingered, occasional conflicts arising. Richard ran for local office on a platform of inclusion, his past fueling authenticity. Wins were incremental, policy changes protecting LGBTQ inheritances. Aunt Lydia rebuilt, starting a support group for women in transition. Her strength inspired, but she distanced slightly, needing space from the epicenter. Mark integrated slowly, attending events. I was wrong, he admitted. Bonds reformed, fragile but growing. Jamie and I adopted a child, navigating biases in the system. Our daughter, named after Eleanor, brought joy amid challenges. School questions about two moms. The book became a bestseller, sparking documentaries. Exposure exhausting but purposeful. Royalties funded scholarships, paying forward. Yet reflections haunted. Decisions dissected, what-ifs pondered. Had I not sent those letters, would peace prevail or stagnation? Family gatherings evolved, open dialogues, no topics taboo. Laughter returned, but tempered by lessons learned. One quiet night, Jamie and I sat on the porch watching stars. Was it worth it? She asked. I squeezed her hand. Yes, because we're free. But the question lingered broader. In fighting personal injustice, do we owe consideration to the unintended victims? Or is truth's pursuit always paramount? Was exposing family secrets to claim my rightful inheritance a righteous act of liberation, or a selfish betrayal that inflicted unnecessary pain on those I loved?